Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another episode of Golf and Politics. We got a special episode today. We're going to be previewing the first annual G&P Cup, the Golf and Politics Cup, that's going to be taking place in August at the GrayBull Club in Maxwell, Nebraska. And Rob, we're real excited about this. I know we've each had the difficult task, and it really was a difficult task of picking 7 guys to join our team. So each team will have 8 players. I was looking at a list of 40, 50 people that I wanted to invite to this event. And I was really fortunate. The first 7 invites I put out there, everybody responded in a matter of minutes that they were excited to play and join the team. So it kind of tells me right off the bat that I think I picked the right team. What about you? How did you get your team put together?
Yeah, I'm really excited about it. I think that, believe it or not, there are more good golfers that I'm friends with who are Republicans. So finding 7 people to play on the Democratic team, especially after the rough year we just had, was hard. I'm joking.
Did you have to make some converts to get people on the team?
Well, it basically comes down to, as long as you're not happy with how President Trump is currently doing, I'll take you.
There you go.
So,
Gotcha.
no, for me, it was less about politics and more about picking a group of 8 people that will have a good time together and will play good golf. I want people that will get into the matches.
Right.
Like I'm a grinder, I'm a scrapper. I don't want people that are just going to show up and drink and hit and giggle. I want them to show up and drink and have a good time. But yeah, we're in this to win. I'm not going to the middle of fucking Nebraska to screw around.
Right. No, every player on my team is a competitor, is somebody that I would love to have on my team in a match. And there's not one person looking at this list. I mean, there is not one person that's not highly competitive. And that was my number one thing when I wanted to pick folks. And so I'll start with my first pick is my vice captain. And your vice captain is joining us for this discussion. Mine was supposed to be here. Something came up and he couldn't be with us, but it's Casey Lang, friend of the program. Casey's been on the show. Casey is sponsoring our first ever Golf and Politics magazine that if you're a listener, you should be getting that in the mail sometime soon. And if you're not on the mailing list, let us know. We want to get you on that. It's going to be distributed. Casey at Lang Financial has been very helpful to the program, and he is one of my best friends. We go back all the way to the year 2000. We were on the college golf team together. He transferred in sophomore year, and we played college golf, and we play a lot of golf even to this day. And there is nobody that I'd rather play golf with outside of my father, my grandfather, than Casey Lang. He made me a better golfer in college. I felt like he mentored me around the course, taught me how to actually play golf instead of just swing a golf club. And he's a very, very solid 1 handicap, has been as low as a +1. He's somebody that I know I can put up against your vice captain, who's one hell of a player and a really good friend and a hell of a competitor. But I know I can put Casey up against him in the singles matches on Tuesday, and he's going to give him a fight. And he will not be an easy out for Nick Kirsch, who's probably a better golfer, but Casey won't be an easy out against Nick. So why don't you go ahead and introduce Nick to our listeners, and Nick can chime in as we start planning this event out.
Well, first and foremost, I think it's a bad sign that your best friend and vice captain didn't even bother to show up for you.
Well, he is at the Greenbrier. He's at the Greenbrier. And let's give him a little grace, because we were supposed to record this 4 hours ago, and you did have a work emergency, and then he was unable to make this work at the last minute. So we'll give him a little bit of grace.
Man, I'm just continuing my trend of verbally attacking the people who pay us and going after sponsors of the show. Happy to do it. My vice captain is a no-brainer, Nick Kirsch. Nick is one of my best friends. Consider him to be a little brother, even though he's much taller than me and hits the ball a hell of a lot farther than I do. I've probably played as much golf with Nick as just about anybody when you count high school golf. We were teammates Our team went 24-0. Obviously, have had some great memories together. Nick's game is probably tee to green, one of the most impressive, and around the greens, one of the most impressive games of anybody I know and play with. He can hit it a mile. His ball striking is outstanding. He hits it high, can hit it soft, can move it left to right, right to left, and really has, as a lefty, kind of reminds you of Phil Mickelson around the greens. So really has a nice touch. Can
Even
get
putts with
hot.
the Tiger Slayer putter. He has the Tiger
Yeah,
Slayer putter.
he can get really hot with the putter. And the thing that I like about Nick's game, I was talking to a D1 golf coach not too long ago, and I said, "What would you rather have? A golfer that makes 8 birdies but could have 6 doubles and occasionally shoot a 75, or the guy like me who will make 18 pars or like 16 pars, a bogey and a birdie?" And he said, "No question, I want the guy that can make 8 birdies and an eagle, because I can fix the bogeys, but I need somebody that can occasionally go out and shoot a 64." And that's Nick. I think we found in our match over in Ireland with Nick and I versus you and Casey, which was a blast. It was a great match. Um, I was reminded of, when Nick is having an off day, I don't know if I'm the best coach to get it back on, because I kept trying things until something would work. And I tried encouragement, like, "Oh,
That doesn't
you're a
work.
great player, stay in it." And then I almost think the better tact is just be like, "You're a piece of shit. Like, what
I
are you
think so
doing out
too.
here?
That's what I
This is
need.
embarrassing. This is just, how on earth are we tied or losing this match? Get
Oh,
your shit together." But I don't
that's what
have to
I
worry
need.
about Nick, because Nick is always one clutch shot away from getting it back on track. And I have no doubt in my mind that even if he's a little bit off, he'll grind all the way to the end, and Casey will have to bleed it out of him. I don't think it's going to get to that point. I think he's a great player and it'll show up where it counts. But more importantly than all of that, he'll be a great vice captain because he's as knowledgeable about the game of golf as any of my friends. He has a high golf IQ, and I think he'll be great in the strategy of putting the pairings together and rallying the troops. Um, I think it makes sense. I don't know. We don't have to agree to it here, but I think it makes sense for our 2 matches to kind of go out first so that we can
Set
go
the
back
tone.
and rally the troops. And not I think it's cool to go out last, but sometimes the match can be over by the time you're done.
Yeah,
Yeah,
we
we're
wanna
going
go
out
out
first. I
first.
agree. Yeah, and we'll go out first, and then we'll get carts and ride back and be working with our teams and having a blast. So, Nick, I enjoyed playing. I got to play on Nick's
Yeah.
team on Saturday, and I think Nick's clearly a better golfer than me, and he's been a better golfer for me for a long, long time. Funny story: I grew up right across the river from Nick, and I'm 16 or 17. I'm finally becoming a decent junior golfer. I'm breaking 40 consistently. I'm feeling like I'm going to be the number one man on my high school team. Like, my game's coming together. And there's this little 9-hole tournament at now closed Pleasant Valley Country Club. And I go out and shoot a 39, which is a good tournament score for me back then. And this 12-year-old kid shoots like 35 and beats the hell out of me. And it's Nick Kirsch. And his dad was the club champ at Williams, and everybody knows, oh, this guy's going to be great. And you've had a great golf career, Nick. And uh, it's going to be a battle for Casey and I, but we have agreed to take you guys on because Rob calls me a socialist for winning strokes. So these are going to be 2 matches that Casey and I are going to have to play our asses off to beat you
Hey,
guys,
it's
but
true.
we're going to
In
do it.
golf, the harder you work and the better you get, the more strokes you have to give away to the less deserving masses. And it's socialism. It really is, plain and simple.
Well, thanks for having me on, guys. I appreciate it, and I'm super excited. I already know how the first match is gonna go. Any predictions? First 6 holes, Matt is going to be even par striping it. And we might be like one down, and then Matt is going to slice 2 balls in a row out of bounds and just completely lose it. And the question is can we beat Casey on the back nine? So
no, I mean, I was one over at Steubenville Country Club going into number 9, and I hit 2 on the road.
yeah, Matt was playing
Took an 8.
phenomenal
Yeah.
at Steubenville, and then you could picture number 9 at Steubenville, Rob. He hit one right of Dick's off the tee. And then tees up another one and hits another one right of Dick's. And then we didn't see
I
him
grinded
for a while.
out to make an 8, man. I had to make a 7-footer to make an 8, and I was grinding. And then I turned around and made a double bogey on the next hole because I had another one out of bounds. It was a bad stretch of 2 holes, but later in the round I hit another terrible tee. I just was struggling, you know. I hit a tee shot about 100 yards right. I mean, just horrible. And then I hit a 6-iron 30 yards left of the green, and I'm in a bunker in a terrible lie. I hit it out to about 21 feet and make the putt for par. And I told Pete, I said, Pete, I may suck at golf right now, but I'll never freaking quit. I'll promise you that. I'm never going to quit. Nick's the same way. Nick doesn't quit. It doesn't matter how bad he's hitting it.
I think the key is how many birdies you can make. And if you have an off hole, is Casey there with the par or
he probably will be.
It's going to come down to which team, obviously, ham and eggs better.
Well, I'm thinking we're playing singles against each other on the final day. It's going to be singles, not best ball. So we may be thinking through, let's come back and discuss that in a little bit. Let's continue though, introducing our teams. We'll just each take turns introducing the next player. My next player is another friend of the program, another sponsor, Jefferson Thomas. Jefferson, when I first met him, was a shaky 12. He's now a dangerous 7. He can get a little squirrely off the tee from time to time, but he can make some birdies. And he's really been taking lessons. He's been working at his game. He's playing a lot of good golf courses. I'm hoping he sticks around a 7 for a little while because I think he'll be dangerous there. But Jefferson was on the program, great friend. We're members at the same club, and he'll be a competitor. You know, he coached college football, for crying out loud. You know what kind of competitor he's going to be.
Jefferson's a good dude. I enjoyed meeting him in Tulsa when we filmed a couple episodes down there, and that's what's going to be fun about this is we're going to talk some shit. We're going to have some tough matches, but the whole point of our podcast, I mean, the basic message is that I think we both agree one of the biggest threats to our country is that we're incapable of getting along and working together and trusting each other. And the game of golf is the most useful way I know of, at least in my repertoire, of getting to know somebody better and building a relationship. And I think that we're going to have a lot of fun in the Sunday practice and all of that. So
that went into my picks too. I wanted guys that, hey, they're firm in their beliefs and they can argue a point and we can have a good time, but they're not going to get bent out of shape that somebody has a different opinion than them. And that's the key here. We'll have some arguments on this trip, but we all better leave as friends. That's what I'm after for the end of this week.
In that spirit, my next guy playing with Nick and I will be John Stillman. I got to know John really over the last couple of winters. One of my clients at T-Mobile has been inviting John and I down to play with him at Doral, if you will, Trump Doral. And John played college golf at Bradley University in Illinois, was a standout player. He's probably a +2, +1. So a lot of guys on my team aren't going to be getting very many strokes. But he's a grinder. He's played a lot of competitive golf. He's going to be going to his second year this fall at Notre Dame Law School. He's a member at Olympia Fields in Chicago. Just a really salt of the earth, good dude, loves the game of golf, total grinder, and is a proud Democrat to boot, which is hard to find.
There you go.
But he is going to be a great asset to the team. He's super excited to come play. And I think he's just going to be one of those guys that it'll be fun to find pairings for him. He hits it far, good short game, good ball striker. It'll be fun to see how we do the pairings. Do we put the plus handicaps out together? Do we mix them up with the low single digits? Do we throw in a high handicapper? We'll get a good sense of that as we get closer to it.
Yeah. My next teammate is PJ Wenzel. He's my former business partner. We founded Front Porch Strategies together years ago and had success in business together. We were so broke getting started in business that our golf trips, if you will, would be that we would meet up at 6:30 in the morning at the airport course in Columbus, and we would play 9 holes. We'd walk 9 holes before work. And so we've been through the trenches together. You build a company with somebody and sell it a few years later. There's a lifelong bond that exists there. We've had arguments as business partners, but we never, it never put a wedge between us in any way. And we went through some serious times. I won't get into some of the legal things we went through after we sold the company, but we went through it. And years later, we're still really good friends. I actually just played with PJ and his dad and his brother yesterday at the Virtues Club in a fundraiser for the Nightbird Foundation. And so PJ's a very solid 5 who has the ability to get hot and make some birdies. He was a little better than a 5 at one point. Doesn't play. He had some back issues a couple years ago. Didn't play as much, but he's starting to play a lot more. I think he'll be really getting into form in August. His game looked pretty good yesterday at times, and I'm excited to have PJ on the team.
Very cool. My next guy, Billy Folkerth, Lord Folkerth. Baby
We'll
Billy.
have fun. We'll have fun. Billy will have fun
Yeah.
at the golf course.
I mean-
that's a great pick, Rob.
Yeah, I think before I get into his golf game, there isn't a more terrific dancer and singer and entertainer.
DJ.
I mean, DJ,
He's one of the best DJs I've ever been around.
even when there's no music on, this guy can dance and sing. And just the thing I love most about Billy is on any golf trip, the guy just lifts the room.
He does.
I mean,
does.
it's hard to see Billy come take a seat at the bar and not smile or enjoy it. He's just such a fun time, and he's such a good person and loyal friend. And his game, he was just at RTJ with me a couple weekends ago, and it's the best I've ever seen him play. He's a 3 handicap.
Well, when we played the match against him, and was that April when we played against him at RTJ?
Yeah,
I mean, he was making all kinds of birdies.
he hits
he's
a heavy
sneaky
ball. He
good.
hits a heavy ball.
Yeah.
And it's just a solid, well-struck ball that, the ball flight has like serious integrity to it. Like it stays on its line. He can get a little loose off the tee sometimes, but he wasn't a couple weekends ago. I really liked the way he was hitting the ball. He was flushing his irons. Short game was good. I mean, he played better than anybody in the group. And I think he might have had the highest handicap. And I think he beat all of us straight up. And then we did post-round 3 club challenge where each guy got to pick 3 clubs and a putter. And we played 2-man scrambles off the forward tees.
Oh, that's fun.
And grabbed a bunch of cocktails, listened to music. But Billy will definitely add some energy and life to the team. And
For sure.
every team needs that. Every team needs the guy that's like, let's fucking go. Like let's get it going.
Now, Nick, can you attest to the fact that you will not have to that Billy will probably be the last one to bed on the Democratic team?
That's what worries me. We have to keep Billy in line at night, right?
Yeah.
4 a.m. Because that's like if I'm staying up till 4 a.m. with Billy, I mean I'm in trouble.
Yeah, that's me too.
I
There'll
can't
be no
perform.
staying up to 4 a.m. So
Billy will be fine.
Yeah, he'll be fine.
It's me.
All right, so moving in the vein of having somebody in your team that just lifts the room, there's only one guy on my team that doesn't have a real connection to politics or is not a client of mine or a vendor of mine, and that's Bob Kyle. And I met Bob on our Ireland trip, And as I was thinking about putting the team together, I just could not fathom a team without Bob Kyle. And part of it is I took a second trip with Bob Kyle and Nick and your business partner, Brad. We went to Stream Song in the park in Florida back in February. And I just thought, like, this team is not going to be as good if Bob Kyle's not on it. I mean, what Nick, what do we know about Bob Kyle?
He's one of my favorite people on earth.
Oh, you're
He
supposed to
really
say
is.
he's never told a lie. You know, Casey's not here. You got to fill in for Casey.
Well, he has never told a lie. That I dropped the ball on that one for sure. But I love Bob Kyle, and he's playing tremendous. I mean, he's what, a 6 or a 7?
I think he's down to a 4, which actually concerns me.
Yeah.
I mean, the dude is a grinder. I mean, he's
He
had
is.
success in business. He sold some companies, and he's got some time on his hands. So brother spends a lot of time on the TrackMan, and he is
does.
dialed. He takes lessons on a weekly basis. This is a guy that is not going to be out of any hole. Like, I mean, he's ultra competitive too. So happy to have Bob on the team.
Yeah, I just look forward to spending time with Bob. Anytime he's around,
Yeah.
I have a great time.
You just feel better. Like, he's just so positive and just
He is.
entertaining and has a lot of interesting knowledge as well. So happy
And
to have
he's-
Bob.
One of
ahead.
my goals with Bob Kyle is to just see him lose his shit once. I just want to see him lose his shit. I don't know if it's possible. I mean, I don't think he can be.
He's a
broken.
former UFC fighter, so I don't know if we want to see that
I thought it was MMA.
or something.
What,
Isn't that kind of like the same
the
thing?
same thing, yeah.
And
Well,
he does a lot of covert toothbrush.
Yeah, but we'll just leave it at that. We'll just leave it
Yeah.
at that.
Yeah.
I will say this:
Discard him.
Bob Kyle, when I first met him, and like one of the first things he said, he went to Virginia Tech, and so like immediately I'm like, I don't know about this guy. But his son goes to WVU, and I see the dude goes to Morgantown and cheers for West Virginia. So we bond over that as well. So I mean, he had to be on the team. I could not have a team without Bob Kyle. So who's next for you, Rob?
Next for me is from the Great Lakes, Jake Marvin. Jake is from Minneapolis, or he lives in Minneapolis. He's a member at White Bear Yacht Club, which is an awesome Donald Ross course. Actually, I think I'm getting that wrong. It might not be Donald Ross, but I played it last year. We met in France on an Outpost Club trip and played, Morfontaine and Chantilly and Les Bordes. And, I met him, and it's rare that I meet somebody that's as in, if not more interested in architecture than I am. I think he's played 500 different golf courses, and he's still in his 20s, which is absurd. Great player too. Hits it a mile. I think he's a 4 handicap. I haven't looked at the numbers for my team in a while, but we recently just played down at East Lake and Peachtree down in Atlanta, and he hit some tee shots that were just unreal. And we had a good comeback on our match at Peachtree. We started 3 down and ended up winning 2-1. We both made a lot of putts on the back 9 and ended up beating Dominic Hersman and a
2.6.
scratch golfer from, well, we had to get that back up to 4. But really, really, really great guy. Very smart, Notre Dame grad, great sense of humor, very quick-witted, knows a lot about golf, loves the game, and I think he'll be a great addition.
We've had Jake on the show. He's a golf course architecture expert, and I've enjoyed how he's actually been on the show twice. And so, yeah, Jake's a great addition. Next for me is the Honorable Matthew George. He's a judge in Licking County, Ohio. I call him Bert. His actual real first name is Bert, but he goes by Matthew. We actually met as White House interns. We interned in the same, literally sat right next to each other in the political affairs office as interns, ended up being roommates together, became very good friends. I actually was not only the best man at his wedding, but also officiated his wedding. And yeah, He was my golfing buddy for years when I lived in Newark, Ohio. We played Mound Builders Country Club a lot. The only way I could ever beat Matt is if we'd stop at the turn and get beers, and he'd drink a couple beers on the back nine, and his golf game goes to hell. So he will not be permitted to drink alcohol during the rounds of golf. He can have a cocktail after we're done.
We got to get him with Billy.
Yeah, that won't happen. He's a judge. He's very strict on that. So we're probably looking at like a +1 handicap for him right now.
Jeez,
I think
nice.
he's usually around a 1. He had a really good stretch at the end of last year. He's in campaign mode. He's running for office, and I'm his consultant as well. So he's taking a couple days off. But he's running against a Democrat, so he should be fine. It's Licking County, Ohio. He should be good to go. So I'm happy to have Matt on the team. He's just a dear friend. My children think of him as an uncle. He's family to me. So I'm glad Matt's going to be on the team.
Did Mulligan try to bite his head off like he tried to bite mine?
He's actually not met Mulligan yet, so he.
Hey,
I take that back. He has met Mulligan, and no, there was no issues. He was here this fall.
My last trip to Tulsa, Mulligan came right up to me, and
he's fine.
Yeah, we're good.
Mulligan attacked me last night. I got home I was in Utah with you, and then in West Virginia, Ohio, and I got back around 12:30 in the morning last night, and Mulligan was just going crazy like I was an intruder. So
good deal. My next guy is Ryan Sawyers. Ryan is a friend of mine, actually from the area. He's a member at RTJ. He won RTJ's match play championship, which I think starts with 64 players. And he won it last year. I think he's a 10 handicap or in that neighborhood. But he's a grinder, and he can play, he can score. He's proven that he can win, 4 matches in a row, 5 matches in a row, however those brackets break down. But he's also incredibly smart. He was in elected office as well. He was a Democrat. He was superintendent of schools, and very active in Democratic politics in Virginia. Great sense of humor. Very sharp, quick-witted. I think he'll be a lot of fun to play with, and I think he'll be dangerous. I think he's around a 10 handicap, but I think he'll be dangerous, and those strokes will help us in some matches if we use it properly.
All right. Next for me is one of my vendors. His name is Drew Ryan. Drew runs a company called Campaign Sidekick. He lives down in Aledo, Texas. His father is the former congressman from Kansas, Jim Ryan, who's also an Olympian and an unbelievable runner. Drew is really fun to play golf with if you're not against him. He frustrates me. He doesn't hit it a long ways. He's got an unorthodox swing, but he puts it in play. He gets it up by the green, and he makes pars just all the live long day. And he was down to like a 1.6. He ruptured his bicep and had surgery after I invited him to be on the team. But I've been informed that his recovery is going well, his rehabilitation is going well, and he's actually going to be traveling with Jefferson Thomas, and I are going to play in the Hidden Creek member guest, and Drew is going to be Jefferson's partner, and I'm taking Keegan Brayan, another friend of the program, to play in that. So we'll see where Drew's game's at in tournament play at Hidden Creek later this month.
Very cool. I've got Patrick Boylan. Patrick is going to be in competition for nicest human on the planet with Bob Kyle. I met Patrick back in late 2018, early 2019. He's in DC, owns a consulting firm. We've done a lot of work together with Jake Ward and Rob Retzloff through 3C. Patrick is one of maybe the most competent people I've ever worked with. He's just one of those people to where if you're on a project with him, anything he does gets done immediately. It gets done perfectly. He never is in a bad mood, never has a mean thing to say about anybody. And, when I went through all of my hell and was sick, Patrick was bringing food over. He was, there, you know, every step of the way trying to be helpful. And I'll never forget that. He's just a really, really, really good dude. Um, Consistent theme on the team also hits it really far. He's a higher handicap. He's got 2 young kids. He's got a baby and a toddler. Actually, James is probably no longer a toddler, but has a young baby girl. And so a lot of his time recently has been dedicated toward that. But I think he's also a Dormy Club member. I think
Yep,
he's on,
he's on our membership. He's part of that,
he's
and
on,
I love Patrick. And I've
yeah.
only really met him once, but I mean, I felt everything you said there. I can attest to just meeting him at MG Cup last year, and hanging out with him on Friday night was a real fun time. I think he'll be a great guy for our trip.
Yeah, you meet Patrick and you've got a friend for life, so, but he's also a good athlete. And I think such an underrated thing in golf. You get a lot of these younger kids today, they decide at a young age, I'm only going to do golf and that's all I'm going to do. I think it's good for golfers to have played team sports, and whether it's basketball, football, baseball, soccer, um, to really know what it means to be in a bind, have to grind. I know in competitive golf, you're playing for yourself, but and that's important. You got to know how to do that. But you're also on a team effort. And I think such an important thing in match play, better ball, foursomes is getting some momentum. Having a little bit of fire in the belly and getting hot with the putter. For higher handicappers, it's all about getting off the tee and keeping it in play. For lower handicap players, you know, GrayBull is pretty wide open. It looks like I've not played it, but it looks like you can kind of spray the ball a little bit off the tee. Um, these matches come down to who's making birdies, who's making the clutch par and just building that momentum. And I think people that have experience being good at team sports and coming through for each other, like I get even a little bit more motivated when I've got
For
a
sure.
teammate in a match. Like, and I know Nick does, and I know you do. And I think Patrick will fit that mold very nicely.
Well, my last player is somebody's also a friend of the program, has been on the show, has filmed content with us out on the golf course. We actually have another big content thing that we're doing with him later this summer. Anthony Moore, state representative from Clinton, Oklahoma.
Good dude.
Anthony's a member at Twin Hills and also his home club Riverside over in Weatherford or in Clinton, Oklahoma. Anthony played college golf. He's the speaker pro tem of the house. So he's a leader, right? I mean, somebody that his peers elected him to a leadership position. He's a competitor. I had to play against him in a match in Tucson. We were out in Tucson together about a month ago. And, when Anthony he plays with his grandfather's ping putter. I mean, this is a guy that just loves the game of golf. He's a purist. And when he gets that old ping putter going, he is tough to beat. He's been as low as a +2 before. I think he's probably a 2 right now. We'll see where he's at. Session is over. There's not going to be special session. As long as he can get enough legal work done to pay his bills, I'm sure he's going to be on the golf course as much as possible leading into August. And no, I'm thrilled that Anthony's on the team. Like he will show up and compete in match play format for sure.
I don't want to hurt his political prospects by saying how much I like him. And
yeah, Jordan, edit that out. We don't need
yeah,
that used against him.
and I would never say that in our round together at Oak Tree National that Anthony and I actually found agreement on a number of issues. But for purposes of his reelection campaign,
No, he's fine. The far right's come after Anthony multiple times, and they spent a fortune against him. And you know what? He went out and won 65-35. So he's pretty confident in who he is and what he's doing. And he's delivered results on every issue that matters for Oklahoma. So Anthony's going to be just fine. Ain't nobody going to run against him and beat him in Western Oklahoma. So
sounds good.
Yeah.
Well, I'm down to my last but least, Jamie Gillespie. Jamie is my third lefty. I've got 3 lefties
Well,
on the
you are
team.
you are the
love it.
left-leaning team, so that makes sense.
Hey, that's a good point.
Matt, I have one left. Well, Matt George is a lefty for our team. He's the
Yeah,
only one.
so Nick, obviously, Jake Marvin and Jamie Gillespie are all left-handed, and Jamie's got some game. And Jamie's a big dude, tall guy, strong, hits it far, loves the game. He's an MG Cup veteran. He's played in, gosh, I feel like he's played in at least 10 of them. So he's there every year, like Wayne Vallis. He's always there. Gets the free meal, plays golf, puts the shirt on. God bless him. He, but he is the top Democrat for Fox Sports. So he is the only guy in the field who technically works for Rupert Murdoch. And Jamie is his sports connections are unreal. He came out to play RTJ one time when I wasn't there, and the next time I was there, I opened up my locker, and there was an autographed Georgetown basketball from Patrick Ewing.
That's awesome.
And a dozen Titleists from Jamie. I went to the U.S. Open in Shinnecock in 2018, and Jamie had us in the Fox suite with Paul Azinger and the U.S. Open trophy. All of that's irrelevant to this match, but
No, it's very relevant. Those are the
Yeah.
kind of people we want. Like, when we're sitting around smoking a cigar, having a good time after our round, we need people that are interesting, right? I mean, we don't want to invite people that are going to be sticks in the mud and not have anything to talk about. So I think your team is really fantastic. I applaud you for putting it together. We're going to kick your ass, but I'm very happy with the team you put together. I think this is going to be an incredibly fun and memorable event.
Yeah, I will. I'll allow your statement to stand.
Yeah, let him talk. Whatever.
And I might put a photo of you with your quote toward the exit of the locker room. So my team.
Did I just give billboard material? I was trying.
You just did.
We're supposed to
It pissed
have
me off. That's not
confrontation,
good.
Rob. That's what it grows our ratings, right? That's what they're
Well,
telling us.
it's like when somebody on the Cleveland Browns or the Cincinnati Bengals disrespects the terrible towel.
Yeah, that's how I
You
feel.
know,
Yeah. Okay.
you just disrespected the terrible towel and united the blue wave. We are the blue wave. Because
The big
buddy,
blue wave. There we
it's
go.
coming. It's coming. I'm one of the few people who's managed to lose the House majority as a Republican and a Democrat within 4 years of each other. I know when an ass kicking is on its way, and the blue wave is excited to come. And one thing for my team, I'm really pumped that we are going to do our team practice round at Sandhills on Saturday before the matches. It's a top 10 course in the United States, arguably top 10 on the planet. I would say hands down the best burger in all of golf on Ben's porch. They've got this rancher and they have their own blend and they have their own seasoning that they sell in the pro shop because it was so popular. And we'll probably play 36 that day.
It's awesome.
But it'll be a real treat for Team Blue. I want to show my appreciation for making the haul out to Nebraska and representing the good guys.
Well, not
Heck
everybody
yeah.
in our team can make our practice round, but there is a contingent of folks that are driving from Tulsa up to Nebraska. It's about a little over 7-hour drive to get up there. So even some people are flying to Tulsa. We're going to play some golf here in the Tulsa area before we go, but we're going to drive very early on Saturday morning, and we're going to stop in Manhattan, Kansas, and we'll play Colbert Hills, which is the home course of Kansas State. J.P. Roller is a Kansas State golfer, and he will be back on campus then, and he's going to be hosting us, and we're going to put together some content, have fun. I think there'll be 4 of us playing at Colbert Hills. A lot of other folks can't fly in until Saturday night into North Platte. But, yeah, this is going to be fun. So let's talk about the format. There'll be 16 possible points. So you're going to need 8 points to tie, 8.5 points to win. So let's talk first about Sunday. Sunday is we're calling it a practice round. but it's really not practice. We're going to play a cash game, right? I mean, I think we haven't decided how much the cash game is going to be, but I think that we need to play a cash game and we need to pay out for the low gross score, the low net score, and then do skins, gross skins. I think that would be a fun way to get things started. But I think we also need to treat it as a potential tiebreaker. So I don't know how you guys want to calculate it. Casey and I believe that it should be the lowest net scores aggregate of the teams that play, which means we probably need to put a cap on it. I don't know if we want guys grinding over 7s and 8s on a practice round. But I think some kind of net scoring to figure out if it's needed, if we end the match and it's 8-8, we need to go back to Sunday and use that as the tiebreaker.
You know, I in the spirit of bipartisan agreement, I have to disagree.
Yes.
I think counting a practice round score in the overall final tally is like Donald Trump counting his practice score to win his 23rd.
I'm not married to the idea. I'm fine. Look, I'm not married to the idea. I'm just throwing it out there, because it's a very realistic possibility that we get down to the final putt and this ends up 8-8.
Well, if it's
a lot of people got to go catch flights.
If it's
how are we going to break the tie?
Oh yeah,
if we tie,
playoff.
I think it's a playoff.
Playoff
Between you two, sudden death.
All right.
Or me and Nick versus you and Casey.
Yeah.
Finish Ireland.
I like that idea a lot better.
Because then on
I still think we should play a cash game on Sunday, though.
We should do like individual skins or something, so it's not like you're competing against the same guys that you're going to be playing.
Yeah, exactly. That was the whole point of it. Okay, I'm cool. I think that's a much better idea, and I love the idea of us playing 2-man best ball straight up against each other, sudden death as a playoff. So
yeah,
all right, perfect. Done.
Perfect.
All right, so next item on the agenda is the format on Monday and Tuesday. Rob, I think you and I have agreed to this. Casey and I have talked about it. I know you and Nick have talked a little bit about it, but we'll be playing best ball in the mornings. So we'll be making the pairings the night before. So there'll be a possible 4 points to be earned, 4 matches played, 2-man best ball, and then we'll have lunch. And then the afternoon will be alternate shot, another 4 points. The question is on alternate shot, are we going to match up the teams so there'll be no strokes given? Or are we going to use the convoluted formula of handicaps to play alternate shot?
Is that possible though with the higher handicappers on your team? I feel like
looking at these handicaps, I mean, I think it can be balanced out. I mean, there's going to be some. You've got better players at the top. My highest handicapper is a 7.
Okay.
So I mean, I think that we can make either work. I don't know that we have to figure that out now, but I think that's something we ought to think about. There is a USGA handicap formula for alternate shot, so we could always just use that as well. So
we've got an 8 and 2 double-digit guys, which will be tough to figure out. You know, if
the parents. I mean, I think we just let's just use the USGA handicap system. I think this should be handicapped except for the singles match between Casey and Nick and the singles match between Rob and I. And, you know, and look, I think that's a stupid thing for us to do because you guys are clearly, if you look at the handicaps, you guys are clearly better. I like it from Casey and I both like it from a motivation standpoint for us. I want to get out and grind this summer and really practice and play well. And I think Rob saw it more on Thursday when we played in Salt Lake City. I was close to playing good golf. I had a couple really terrible iron shots that just carried too far and went out of bounds, but I think I'm getting close. I didn't have that this weekend. I played terrible with Nick, but I like the challenge of trying to get better, and I would really appreciate playing Rob straight up, and I think Casey would appreciate the opportunity to play you straight up.
Well, just be careful not to say where we played in Salt Lake City. I don't want to.
Oh yeah, cause any. Don't get me started. Yeah, if there'll be a future episode that maybe talks about that in a roundabout way.
Yeah. So let's think about the alt shot because I think alternate shot's a lot of fun. I think it's where a session could be totally lopsided. Either way. I think it's a lot of fun, especially for the second 18, because if we've been up drinking the last 2 nights, it's a fun, easy way to kind of get it going. And I think a lot of people aren't familiar with playing it, so that's intriguing.
And it's gonna be important. The pairing's gonna be important. You got to have people that are gonna be
Yeah.
compatible and
It's also a lot of people love playing their own ball for 18 holes, but I
Yeah.
think we're going to have plenty of golf for everybody to play. So I guess
But this
I'm
is a
fine with
Ryder
it.
Cup-style event. We have to have an
Yeah.
alternate shot format.
Yeah. I think we'll figure out some kind of math for that because obviously in the Ryder Cup, they're all +7s. So we'll figure out some kind of math to make sure that it's okay. Obviously the better groups won't have any problem. But we'll figure that out.
We're
All
gonna
right,
be
so-
we're gonna be an interesting alternate shot team, right? Two
I love
polar
it.
opposites, and
I will-
same with you and Casey though too.
See, I don't know if Casey and I will be there. We haven't decided
Oh,
how
yeah, I
we're going to
guess
pair
that's-
up these teams, right?
That's
I
true.
mean,
That's true.
there is a sense in which one, I want to play with as many guys as I want to.
Sure.
I
That'll
know
make
though
Ki-
how
that'll
epic
make
our
Casey
matches
happy.
are, so we'll need to figure that out. But
Well,
we'll make
we
it
all
work.
learned watching Tiger and Phil, like they had trouble agreeing on what kind of ball to play.
Right.
And
That is true. I mean, it matters.
all those are things that we need to think about.
Yeah.
And maybe it makes sense to put big hitters together. And I don't know. We'll TBD. We're not going to give you our
Yeah.
playbook.
Yeah.
All right, so
Yeah.
moving on to some finer things. We're going to play this cash game on Sunday, and then everyone will go back and shower, and then there's going to be a dinner. And I'm proposing, and I think I've proposed this to you, Rob, and you seemed okay with it, but I'm going to bring it up again. I want to propose that we do a jacket and tie dinner the same way you do at MG Cup. And I want to encourage my team to wear blue jackets and red ties so we can take a really nice team picture and actually a full group picture. I think your team should wear blue ties of some sort. I think that would be a great optic, great photo. And I would like to have a nice, serious dinner. And I'd like everybody on the team to get up and share some kind of gift with the team. I know I have one guy on my team that wants to buy the green reading books for everybody in our team. I've got another guy that wants to buy a shirt for everybody. Everybody needs to bring something that they're contributing, because ultimately the money that they're getting charged to play in this doesn't cover the full expense of the trip. We have some sponsors that are stepping up and paying for some of this. Rob, you and I are putting some of this in our own pocket, investing in the event. We want our teammates to give something back to the team. And like you do the wine dinner where everyone stands up at the MG Cup and explains why they brought that bottle of wine, why it's special. I want each person on our team to stand up and say why they're contributing this gift to the team. What do you think of that?
Sounds good to me.
Yeah, that's cool.
You know, I don't encourage the green reading books and getting overly analytical, like the Brad Cheney approach. The Brad friend of the program,
Brad's catching fire. That's unbelievable.
He's catching strays.
Brad is not on your team. That is somebody that was asked to be on the team. And
he's catching strays because I invited him to be on the team. I mean, he is a real Democrat, and I think he's got a family obligation.
He has family obligations.
I always bust his balls because whenever you play with him, like he's very particular with his caddy. He's got to have the yardage, the wind direction. You know, I mean, he's damn near Bryson DeChambeau with the protractor on the fucking green. And I always bust his balls. I'm like, just hit the fucking ball.
Funny story. I got to tell a funny
hit the
story
fucking
about
ball.
Brad Cheney is that we play this match at the Chain in Florida. And I am struggling with the shanks, right? And it's just a bad day. But Bob Kyle and I are somehow grinding out par after par and tying Nick and Brad. And this match is tied. And Bob Kyle makes a bomb it's 19 holes at the Chain. And Bob Kyle makes a bomb on our 18th hole to go up by 1. And we're playing for dinner. And we're driving from Stream Song to West Palm Beach that night. So when we said we're playing for dinner, I'm thinking we're going to like an upscale Outback or something. Like we're not playing for anything real special. We're playing for dinner on the road, right? We win that hole, and we're excited because we could care less about the dinner as much as we care about just beating Nick and Brad, right? And we tie the last hole, so we win the match. We get in the car, and Brad picks the Breakers as the place that we're going. Like, he's the losing team, and he picked the Breakers. And his face is like, seriously, dude? And then Rob shows up at the Breakers, starts ordering expensive bottles of wine and appetizers. That ended up being a very expensive putt that
It
Rob Bob
was.
Kyle made for our team.
Well, you should have
It was-
known
it was a
better
great-
inviting me. I can't leave the house for under $500. And
It was
Cheney,
a great night though. It was worth
It
it.
was. It was epic. It was epic.
you gotta have one big meal on every golf trip. One
Sure.
proper do
Absolutely.
it right meal.
Well, do we want to talk about the tee gifts are going to be special? We're going to have some team uniforms. Those are being ordered. It's going to be first class all the way. I'm not going to give away all the secrets of what we're doing, but it's one of these events that I really think is going to be great for the exposure of our podcast. We're going to have a full production crew there filming on-course content. Rob and I will be mic'd up the entire time. You know, and for those of you listening that didn't get invited, I mean, look, we could only invite 7, and that's really hard. I mean, a guy like Keegan Brain, who I'm taking to a member guest later this month, who's one of my dear friends, like it just, you run out of room. Like you just can't put everybody on the team. But our goal is to really build a community around this and have an event that people really want to come to in the future. And from the sounds of it, we're on the right track here.
I think swag is really important. I've played in a lot of events where, you know, you have a relatively large field and they give you a bunch of stuff and they still end up spending a lot of money on it. But it's shit you'll never wear.
Uh-huh.
Like, you know, I'm not going to wear a triple nipple lame ass hat and, you know, a certain shirt, you know, that's got the logo's too big or in the wrong place, or, you know, shoes that aren't the right fit or aren't style. So I think if you're going to spend the money, do it right and have something that people look forward to.
Absolutely.
And have stuff that people will wear.
Right? Like
I wear everything that you gave out at the MG Cup are some of my favorite items in my closet.
right.
Holderson and
Half of my
Bourne.
wardrobe's MG Cup stuff.
Yeah.
It really is.
I wear it all the time. Wear the majority cap hat a lot. It's just, you know, everything that was in that swag, the Toomey luggage bag. I mean, that was fantastic. I use it all the time.
That's a sweet bag.
I've been mapping out this year's MG Cup swag, and I have kept the standard. It's I've been basically like the whole year. I really look around and I see, you know, what really catches my eye. What do I think people will like? You know, cool things that you want to share with your friends. And for me, it's like you think about all the stupid shit we all spend money on a daily basis. Like, it's, you know, if you're doing an event once a year, do it right. Like, you know, do it right, make it memorable, let people know how much you appreciate them, for them to be there, to participate, to be in your life, and, you know, give them stuff that they're going to use and not feel silly wearing.
Well, I'll tell you this, just putting this out there to the world. We are looking for a sponsor of this program that we can wear. You know, we want a clothing sponsor. Like, I think that would be fantastic. And we want to sell merch on our website. So if you're out there and you enjoy this podcast, invest in us. We're having huge growth month after month, and we will sell your product. Just got to sponsor us. We will wear it at these events. I mean, here's a guy that puts on a huge event every year. If we're getting paid by somebody to wear your apparel, guess what kind of apparel everybody's going to get the MG Cup, and what kind of apparel everybody's going to get the Golf and Politics Cup in the future. So we're this program, like, we've been at it for over a year. Most podcasts start and they stop because they realize how much hard work goes into it. We're not only still going, we're putting on an epic event. The total price tag of this event is really expensive when you consider in the production crew, travel to Nebraska, and the freight to stay on this world-class property and play golf. So for those out there that sell clothing, if you have good merchandise, we're interested in talking to you. So shameless plug for our business side of the podcast.
Heck yeah.
Yeah, we're talking to you, bro. We're talking to you, Rolex.
That's right.
And Range Rover and Tom Ford. And I mean, just imagine if you were a liquor company and I could hold up a nice bottle of your liquor on our show and drink a glass. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, come on, let's go.
Yeah.
I'm drinking a glass of whiskey that I'm not getting paid for right now, so their name's not going to get mentioned, and Nick is too. So, look, this is a program that's going places. Nick, I want to let you know how much I appreciate you, man. Thanks for this weekend at Steubenville Country Club and hosting me. That was a lot of fun.
Hey, my
I
pleasure.
cannot wait
boys.
to play more this summer when I'm up in the valley, and I can't wait for this
Absolutely.
trip in Nebraska. Rob, great team that you put together, and I look forward to this big time.
You too. It's gonna be a lot of fun, and getting there is not easy. I mean, especially from the East Coast, it's easier to get to Dubai. I went to Sandhills last August, and we didn't get to play GrayBull. It just opened. But we flew into Denver, and it was like a 5.5 hour drive from Denver, and we were going to Dismal River first, and we ended up on cow paths for the last 90 minutes of the drive, and it's just sand. There's no concrete underneath the sand, and it's pitch black, and the car is just fishtailing, and Billy's driving and getting increasingly frustrated. We found a spot where my cell phone worked, and I called the club, and it's late at night. We're exhausted. And I was like, we've been driving for like 45 minutes on these cow paths. I have no idea where we are. GPS isn't working. Waze isn't working. And the lady who answers the phone says, well, how long you been on the cow path? And I said, 45 minutes. And she says, just keep going another hour. You'll find us. It's the only light up on top of the hill. So we're just like, oh fuck, like this could be bad. But sure enough, another hour on that cow path, and we got there. And what I will say about the region is, it's really beautiful. It is barren. It is, 100 miles past BFE, and it is awesome golf. I mean, it is sand-based turf. The ball hits and bounces like crazy. It'll feel like the links golf we played in Ireland, minus the ocean. But firm and fast, lots of fun. Really creative golf holes up and over these big dunes, and it really is spectacular. And I think people think of Nebraska, and like I think of
Corn.
Iowa, or corn, but it is nothing like that.
Right.
I mean, you're getting into the foothills of the Rockies, and it's just barren land, and there ain't much going on. So we're gonna have to get along and drink and eat good food.
Well, we
because
will. There's no doubt.
We
There
There
ain't
will.
there ain't shit else to do, and it'll be a good time. Dormy Network does it right.
Yeah, they do.
All right, well, hey, for those of you listening, thank you. Please subscribe wherever you get your podcast. If you're on YouTube, hit subscribe. Audio podcast, hit subscribe. We appreciate everybody that's tuning in, and we're going to keep bringing you great content. And this is going to be an epic event that's going to create a lot of good stuff for you guys to watch at home. So thanks again for listening. Hey.